Welcome, everybody. Can we start off with an introduction from our interpreter for tonight?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Andrea. I'm here with the Community Language Cooperative. We're going to be practicing language justice today, and we're going to have simultaneous interpretation so that everybody can hear and speak in the language of their heart, how they feel more comfortable. Once we turn on the interpretation, if you're on Zoom, you're going to see a globe that is going to come up at the bottom of your screen, or 3 little dots or where it says more, and you're going to be able to select your preferred language there. Hola a todos, mi nombre es Andrea, estoy aquí con la Community Language Cooperative. Vamos a practicar la justicia del lenguaje el día de hoy y vamos a tener interpretación simultánea en inglés y en español para que podamos hablar y escuchar en el idioma de nuestro corazón o como nos sintamos más cómodos. Una vez que aprendamos la interpretación, por favor vayan al globo que va a aparecer en la parte inferior de su pantalla o a los 3 punticos o donde dice más y ahí pueden seleccionar su idioma. For anybody in the room right now, please remember to speak at a conversational pace and very close to your microphone when it's your turn to speak. Thank you, and we can start interpretation now.
Thank you, Andrea. All right, I'll call to order this work session for the City Council of the City of Sheridan for March 10th, 2025. The time is 6:03 p.m. And our items tonight are city attorney interviews. We're starting off with Hoffman, Parker, Wilson, and Carberry, PC. So I'd like to welcome you. Thanks for joining us. I think we're going to start off with just you introducing yourselves and describing your firm and how you'd be a good fit for city attorney for Sheridan.
Is this already on? Is it?
I think it is, yeah.
Okay. Good evening. Hi, I'm Hillary Graham and Kendra Carberry. So we are from Hoffman, Parker, Wilson, and Carberry. We are a firm that specializes in municipal law. I've been practicing municipal law for about 23 years, mostly at the firm, one portion within the city of Westminster, but now I'm back at the firm. We love what we do. We like representing municipalities and special districts and other local governments. We have 6 directors and 9 associates, so we can pretty much find somebody who knows something about everything. We like to think of ourselves as responsive and helpful, and we would love working with you all. I'm happy to answer questions. I don't really have a spiel prepared.
Thanks, Hillary. Hi, I'm Kendra. I'm just gonna stand on my tiptoes a little.
This thing's flexible. You can bend it down a little.
Kendra, you should be able to pull it
Yeah.
down towards you. Pull the
Yeah.
whole thing.
The whole thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there we go. Okay, that's better. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, my name is Kendra Carberry. I've been with the firm since 1995. I just had my 30th anniversary. So it's been a long time. We did represent the city of Sheridan in the 1990s, and I was laughing today as we were doing a little tour because I did my first municipal court right here in front of Judge Kimmel. And it was very fun and very interesting. And I understand you're moved away from night court, so that's an interesting change because it was always night court when I was here. Anyway, our firm, this is all we do is practice municipal law, and we would love to take on the city of Sheridan as a client.
Great. Anybody want to jump in with questions?
I have one.
Go ahead.
What other cities are you currently representing? What other municipalities?
So I will primarily answer. So the proposal is that I would be the city attorney. Kendra would be my backup, which is odd because she was my boss for a long time. So I am currently representing the town of Winter Park, the town of Hudson, the city of Leadville, a couple urban renewal authorities, the Brighton Urban Renewal Authority. I do represent the Englewood Downtown Development Authority right nearby, but we think that's okay. We can talk about that more if needed. And let's see, those are the big ones. Fill in as needed with other clients.
And my biggest clients are the town of Erie, the town of Vale, the town of Platteville. Those are kind of my big ones. And then I represent a number of special districts as well. But I've kind of moved a lot of my clients onto associates to try to give them opportunities to learn how to do what we do. So I'm spending less time on those clients, and also the town of Erie, which is definitely my largest client, they're going in-house in a couple months. So that will free up a lot more of my time because they've gotten so big that they want a full in-house staff.
Well, I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. Did you guys have the opportunity to meet the staff,
We did.
and what do you think?
Wow, no pressure, right?
Detailed review notes. No, just kidding.
I mean, my impression was it's a really well-run organization. That you have a great city manager who has lots of great staff, and that it would be a pleasure to work with you. It also sounds like you guys are a very cooperative governing body, so that's welcome and not all that usual, not all that common these days, but that is refreshing. So my overall impression is that this would be a great place to work.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like a real team environment here, which it's very refreshing to see. I love the longevity of the employees that you have. I mean, you've had so many employees for such a long time. I think that really, reflects well on the city and the organization and your manager.
Could you describe your approach to providing legal services to smaller cities like Sheridan?
You bet. So primarily, I would say that most of my clients are the size or smaller. And the approach is pretty much the same regardless of size. It's to be available, accessible. There are no dumb questions. So I think it's primarily a relationship of trust. So one of my favorite things about this work is getting to know staff and having really close working relationships with city and town staff. And of course, occasionally interacting with the governing bodies. But I think the day-to-day, it's really a staff relationship, and the approach is to be available and respectful of their time and respectful of deadlines, turning things around as needed, and answering questions. And I learned from her, so she's probably gonna say the same thing.
Exactly. No, I agree. I'm just going to say ditto.
Anybody else?
I have another question.
Go ahead.
What types of things do you think are important to report on during you have a section of your report in each of our meetings. What types of things are important to report on?
Well, I would say things of general interest, noting that it's a public session, so we're not going to be divulging, client-specific confidential information, but things of interest both to the council and probably the listening public. So what types of things are going on in the legislature? What are we seeing for trends here or there, economically, otherwise? Things of note that we might learn through Colorado Municipal League, which is a really great resource for us and probably for you as well. Things we might hear from CIRSA. So things that are of interest to non-lawyer types.
Do you think it's appropriate or acceptable to not have a report?
I'd say that's entirely up to the governing body. Who you're employing us, whatever you want, we should be able to deliver.
We have some clients that like a report every time and some that have too much to do and they would rather not. So it's really, we would follow your direction.
Kind of piggybacking on that, how would you keep the mayor and council informed of important legal matters?
Again, I think that's largely dictated by what your wants and needs are. I can tell you that in other places, I typically will interact with the governing body, the mayor and council, or the mayor and board of trustees, by email if there's an important brief to discuss, perhaps prior to an executive session to deliver materials. So that definitely occurs from time to time. I think most of the day-to-day conversation is probably through your city manager, but I try to be respectful of all of your time and not send you a bunch of emails, but when necessary, we would certainly communicate directly with you. Yeah, and council members are always welcome to call. So
Yeah, I would just add to that, we do update memoranda on various, like, so if there's a brand new Supreme Court case that comes out and it somehow affects your ability to use social media, or just using that as an example, because that's common, or it's a new piece of legislation that comes out, we will draft a memo and send it to you offline. And then if you would like to discuss it, we typically would set that for executive session if you'd like to discuss it as a body, or you're always welcome to call either of us individually to ask questions.
I'm curious if you can tell us about any work that you've been especially proud of, that you thought you did a really great job on, and one or more examples.
That is a good question. We're not usually asked. It's funny. I sometimes, I mean, I feel like this is a thankless job in a lot of ways, but in a good way, because I don't typically want a lot of thanks. It's sort of I like to be the sort of behind the scenes person. So that's an interesting question. I think, well, projects that I consider successful are when I've provided support in order for my clients to accomplish things. I'm thinking, I can't really think of a good example right now. With Kendra right here, I'm reminded of the Erie Charter. So they went home rule, and I was the Charter Commission's legal counsel. So we worked a lot to get a draft charter together and then
Good job.
approved by voters. Yeah, so that was satisfying that it was approved. It was later challenged in litigation, but that's
But we won.
but yeah, that's the way it goes. So yeah, that's one that comes to mind.
Thanks.
I have another one. And I know Mary Lynn's familiar with this as well, but I represent Town of Erie, and we were sort of fighting with City of Lafayette for many, many, many years, and there was lots of litigation. And so we successfully negotiated what we called the global settlement, where we worked out like 6 different issues. And I was proud of that because I was part of it, and it enabled both of our cities to come together finally. I mean, we're neighboring, so you don't want to be feuding with your neighboring jurisdictions all the time. So that I would say I was really proud of that one.
Thanks. People, any questions?
I have one. Since you guys serve multiple clients, how will you ensure that Sheridan receives prompt and thorough service?
So we will designate one person, be me, to receive all your inquiries and primarily deliver all your work. And Kendra and I both have a policy of responding to emails and phone calls within 24 hours, if not sooner. We might not have, fully fleshed out answer, but we will certainly respond and let you know we're working on it. As far as making sure work gets done, we delegate to associates in our firm, and many of them have their own areas of expertise. We have someone who I would argue is sort of a police legal advisor person, someone who's kind of a open records specialist. So a lot of what needs to be done can be done efficiently because these people know what they're doing, Kendra and I included. So that's the plan, is to be responsive and balance what needs to be balanced.
I don't know if I can ask this, but we'll see.
You can ask whatever you like. You're allowed.
Who, who would you say is your favorite municipal clients and why?
Don't answer that.
Okay, you don't have to say where, but just the time.
I'll tell you what I tell my kids, you're all special in your own way. So
It's just a specialist.
Who's the most special?
the most special, yeah, and sometimes the most special clients are special for not the best reason. I'd say, and this isn't actually a municipal client, but the one that comes to mind is Foothills Animal Shelter,
Oh,
which I know you guys are a contracting entity, but I just really like what they do. And they're particularly rewarding to work with. they've really taken on this idea of, and maybe this is common among shelters, they're the only shelter I know of. But the idea that of a shelter as social service. So they view their role as, really part of keeping their humans and animals together. So I've found that to be particularly rewarding. They don't ask me to do a whole lot, which is also great. No, but they're also similar to what I perceive of you. They're a well-run organization. And that's rewarding in itself to see the efficiency and departments working together and to be a part of that. So do you have a favorite?
I would say it changes because I think you all right now, it sounds like you work super well together and you trust your staff and you put a lot of trust in your staff and you give them the ability to do their best. So I would say it changes sometimes with me because I'll have one favorite client because they trust their staff and they're doing a great job. And then sometimes we get a new council and then things change. So I can't, over the years, I've had different favorites depending on the organization and the structure and the management and the elected officials and their the way that they interact with staff. Everything I've heard about Sheridan, it sounds like it's doing really well right now. So yeah,
You know,
I
we
can't-
have elections, right? So
Fingers
it
crossed.
happens.
Exactly.
Other questions?
Do you have any questions for us?
I don't. I just thank you for your time and for your consideration.
I guess I would ask what you all are looking for, particularly in your city attorney. Is there something specific or just general question?
I would say, we are looking for someone responsive, someone who, if there's a yes or a no answer, we don't just get yes or no, we get, a fully flushed out answer with possibilities, opportunities that might be more in between those answers even, if we get a no, why a no? Are there other ways we could go getting to the end goal,
That's a really good point. We like to give our clients options sometimes. And usually we try to say, well, it's Jerry Dahl's rule of three. You'll know this, but we try to give three options. One may be the riskiest and one may be the safest.
Yeah.
But you all are elected and you're the policymakers. So it's important for then you to choose.
Yeah.
Hopefully we give you that range of options so that you can choose.
Other folks, what do you
Well,
look
for me, a great relationship with staff. I'm always going to say it. I feel like they're the heart of the city to me. So as long as you guys have a great working relationship with them, that's what I want.
other folks? I know you've
I mean,
a lot
anybody
of-
who's
yeah.
worked with the animal shelter is really something that
You like that?
I love that.
I would say to add on to the options, it's also really helpful when you have good working relationships with staff and elected officials. It becomes easier to identify the options that might be appealing to them. So you can sort of anticipate the next question of
Mhm.
this is a no, but here's what you could do instead. So I think
Mhm.
that comes with knowing the organization and knowing your appetite for risk and your goals, your kind of your mission, that kind of thing.
Do you feel like you have, a specific skill set or advantage over your competition in these interviews?
I think that you would be well served by either firm, biased to mine. But I know, I mean, I respect their work. I know who they are and I think they're also well qualified. Yeah, I mean, shamelessly, I would put in a plug for us because I mean, I know my work, I know my sort of standards and my work ethic, and I don't know that of other people. But I know that of my firm and of my partners. So-
There's nothing wrong with saying we're better.
Yeah.
I would say our responsiveness is probably the one piece of feedback that we hear most often from our clients.
Mhm.
Sometimes when we take over for another attorney, someone says, wow, it's so nice that you get back to us so quickly. So I'm just giving us a plug on that one because I do think we are very responsive. And again, as Hillary said, we don't always have the answer right away, but we respond and say, oh, hey, we're going to look into it. What should we focus on? How can we help you right now? Especially if it's an emergency.
And I think being accessible, so not only available for the questions, but not intimidating, so that I mean, we view ourselves as part of the organization. We're not the yes men or the no men or, women. We are, we're part of your group. So we want to be consulted and we want to be helpful and we want to, I think I already said it. I don't need to repeat myself.
Do you, with your other clients, do you have like an annual review process, and what does that look like?
Yeah, it depends on the client. I know Kendra has been through actual formal reviews. Mine not so much, but if they keep reappointing me, I assume that's good. I haven't been asked to participate in an actual formal review, but I would
Okay.
certainly do that. And I know you have.
Yeah, several of my clients do formal reviews, some don't. I always encourage my clients, if something's up, please just reach out to me and
Mhm.
say, hey, we didn't get a responsive answer in this, or we didn't like this answer, or we don't think you explained it well enough, whatever that may be. I mean,
Mhm.
I think feedback is really important because we can't improve if we don't know what, you're not happy with.
Right.
So, and we would say the same to staff. So
Mhm.
I think that communication is important. So again, several of my clients do a very formal annual review and others don't. And as
Mhm.
Hillary said, if I'm still working, I assume it's good. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think you have to have both. You've got to have feedback right when something's happening. Otherwise,
Right.
it's dysfunctional.
Exactly.
All right. Anyone else? Any more questions? You got one? You're quiet? Okay. Okay, well, I guess we'll call it good then, unless you have
Okay.
anything else you want to share with us before we wrap up.
No, thank you for your time.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
appreciate
Thank you
your
both
time.
very
And
much.
Yeah.
we appreciate staff's time too. It was very
Mhm.
informative today to meet with staff and
Mhm.
yeah, it was great. So
Good
Thank
job,
you.
Seth.
Yeah, thank
thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Thank you, council. Good questions. Try to remember what questions you asked so that you can ask them again to the other interviewees. So it's fair, right? Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah.
She- Andrea, I can't hear you.
I am sorry. We tried to cover the same ground,
Mhm.
but it doesn't have to be word for
Yeah.
word the same thing. Just, try and cover the same ground. I think that, but good questions. Yeah. Some of you guys, I'm like, going, oh, that was good. I would have, I should have wrote that one down. Do you guys you got 5 minutes. Did you want to have any discussion between you or do you want to go ahead and just get going on the next one?
If
Yeah,
they're
we can
ready,
keep going.
I think we're probably ready to go.
I think I heard that they're out there, so
Right.
Jenna,
it's up to you.
did you book our Breckenridge already?
We're talking about that later. Don't interrupt now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm just making sure.
Can I say something? I'm in a top pain and everything, so I'm trying to be.
Oh, no, that's fine. I wasn't trying to pressure you. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
You need anything?
That
Okay.
might have been my bad. I hugged him pretty hard when I came in here. I forgot that.
How strong you are?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that he
Oh.
had injured rib. I totally forgot. I gave him a big hug, and then he was like, "Yeah," I said, "Stop crying." Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm not trying to call you out by looking at you. I just want to make sure everybody has an opportunity. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi. Well, we're going to get you right up here. So if you want to just put your stuff down and whoever's going to talk first can come right to the podium.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Make sure you stretch out your words a little so that Andrea can have plenty of time to interpret whatever you're saying, and don't talk over each other if you can help it.
Perfect.
Yeah. So welcome. Could you introduce yourself and describe your firm and tell us about why you'd like to work for Sheridan?
Hi, yes, I'm Betsy Stewart, and if appointed, I would be acting as the city attorney for the city of Sheridan. Brandon Dittman would act as a deputy city attorney, and Jeff Wilson would be available when and whenever needed to assist in his many years of experience and expertise. So part of why I think Sheridan would be a really great fit is it fits within the structure of our clients and similar size of the rest of the entities we have in our firm. I grew up in West Virginia, and so one thing I've really missed since I moved out here is feeling a sense of community. Just because it's so large in the Denver area, while I love that, it's difficult to feel the ties until I came into this sort of work full time. So I think that's one thing that really fits well and brings a sense of joy to myself and really shows up in the way I show up for work. We work in a really collaborative environment, a lot of teamwork in our firm. We do a team meeting every Thursday where we talk about what's going on with our clients, general issues that may kind of cross across each of us. If there's specific areas we know somebody else may have expertise or experience in, we touch on those. So it really, I think, brings a lot of value to our clients in the large areas that way.
Great.
And then another part of the background before I hand over to Brandon is I have over 10 years of experience in local government work. Part of that out here was doing CIRSA work for local governmental entities. So I have a lot of experience in employment law, whether that be state, federal, all of those matters, 1983 work through police departments. And then day to day here, I do a lot of contracting, reviewing, revising, negotiating, all of those things. So yeah, and I've been getting more into land use and everything like that. So it's been really lovely.
Hi, so I just want to give a little background on myself as well, more on the law firm generally, who our clients are, the type of work we specialize in, all of that stuff. So my name is Brandon Dittman. I'm one of the founding partners of our law firm. I've been practicing municipal law for over 10 years now, but have a wide background in a variety of issues, including utilities, which I'm kind of known for in some circumstances, some places. I was originally a Denver city attorney out of law school for a couple of years. Then worked for a law firm called Kissinger and Fellman, which specializes in general practice for municipalities as well as telecommunications and utilities. Kissinger and Fellman merged with Wilson Williams to start WWFD, Wilson Williams Fellman Dittman. And we have 8 attorneys in our law firm, ranging in experience and expertise. And it really is, I think, that diverse kind of backgrounds we all have that really helps, bring value to our clients. Personally, I've been the town attorney for the town of Lyons for 8 years. I've been the city attorney for the city of Los Animas for 3 years, the town attorney for Empire, almost 9 years, I think now, and represent, communities as large as the city and county of Denver, as small as a place like Empire, in a variety of different matters, including utilities, public works issues, telecommunications, doing your franchises for Excel and Comcast. I just want to introduce the firm more generally, and then also myself, as I would be helping out. Another part of my background I wanted to mention, I think it is directly relevant to Sheridan, is that myself and Ken Fellman, my law firm, have done 2 tours of duty as Littleton city attorneys during various times of interim needs. And so Ken and I were, I think, during the first tour of duty for 2 years, city attorneys there. And then I think the second one was only 1 year. But we are familiar with the area. We're just right across Santa Fe in that city attorney's office and dealing with, I think, probably a lot of the same issues. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jeff to give his introduction.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jeff Wilson. I've been doing this my whole life. What can I say? I was at the general counsel for the Colorado Municipal League for almost 30 years. I was part of their legislative team. I always had good land use experts to help me out. So I don't know much about land use, but our firm has incredible depth on land use, including Betsy and Nina Williams in our firm. I do all manner of municipal revenue streams, all forms of taxes, TABOR, open meetings, open records, ethics, conflicts of interest. a pretty wide suite of matters for various municipalities that we represent. I'm really excited about the possibility of representing Sheridan because I am old and I remember Jim Windholtz being here and Lee Phillips being here and the big box store collapsing and your revenue going in the tank, and then building that big development along Santa Fe that kind of putted along for a while. And now it looks like it's really going to town. So I'm happy about that. And I'm happy about, it looks like Sheridan has gotten back up on its feet, and that's a good thing. And I'm pleased to see it. So shut up now.
Thank you. All right. Anybody want to take off with the next question? Go ahead.
I'll go. How would you keep the mayor and city council informed of important municipal legal matters?
Yeah, so a lot of the ways I do that, and in particular, I recently did that with a lot of our municipalities as it relates to natural medicine. And a good way of doing that, I found, is first off, I look through everything. I do a memo that really hits the high points and what you need to know and what the entity can do and what you can't do, by law when we get blessed by a new statute from the legislature. So I kind of like to set up that way. So you're aware before we would hold a work session or anything like that, kind of what are the high points? That way you all can be knowledgeable of it and then help start directing policy for me to implement through an ordinance, resolution, anything like that.
In addition, something we can do that we did for Littleton when we were there, as well as I currently do for the town of Lyons, is have office hours, not just for administrative staff, maybe a portion of that for, if this is desired by the community, for elected officials as well to have, their legal issues answered either by phone call or coming in person sometimes. In addition to that, we always do a legal update during our representation as city attorney or town attorney. And make sure we're responsive to whatever the legal needs are and the questions that you all bring to us that you'd like generally answered. So I think we have a variety of ways of answering your questions, either through direct contact, having office hours, through memos on larger issues, and then just as part of our representation before city council.
I can talk too, but I'm just not gonna.
Yeah, that's fine. What do you think is the role of like your, what I want to say, of you in a council meeting? So like, would you typically give a report to council, or do you not give a report if you don't feel like there's anything kind of relevant going on, or how does that work?
In particular, Woodland Park, we have an attorney's report section, and I typically give kind of an update of what's going on, or if there's any hot issues. I've spoken about that before. So I think for you all, for example, if there's something coming up or where I've been working on or some major hot button issues, give you a status update on it, what's going on, let you and the community know.
It's really, it varies from jurisdiction to jurisdiction,
Yeah.
what the culture is on that. Like we will, we'll do full reports of what happened in the last session of the legislature. We do, all kinds of different degrees of informing, whatever you want.
Okay, great. Other questions? Anybody want to bring up any of the questions they asked last time? Yeah, go ahead.
As firms, as you're serving multiple municipal clients, how will you ensure that Sheridan receives prompt service?
Yes, so one of the ways that I would propose doing that is that we would hold a weekly team meeting with staff or the city manager, whoever needs to be present in it. And that way we keep track of, here are the outstanding tasks. Here's where we go on them. This is, a 2-day task. We've got to get this turned around. This is a 5 to 10-day task. This is pretty run of the mill. We've got a moment. Let's really prioritize. And hey, we have this on the horizon for 3 months out. Let's just see where we are. Are there task items we need to work on within the staff? Here's how we can kind of delegate out. let's keep it on a timeline.
Mhm.
That's one way I like to try to do things. I think it's really efficient, and that comes from my litigation background where my whole life was a scheduling order. So, and another thing too, I was thinking about that really helps with my litigation background too, and especially keeping things on track, is that I'm able to really issue spot within municipalities, and I can try to mitigate any, you know, areas I see that could be problematic, try to really get the city prepped there. Everybody knows you can be sued even if you do everything right. But how can I make sure that we're always in a really good defensible position? That's a really something I'm very talented at, and really is a good thing from having litigation. But my heart is in working more quickly and seeing change quicker than you can with litigation, and being more boots on the ground than retro, actively looking at a problem. What do we do now? Let's just try to fix things moving forward. So, and not that I think the city has that, but I think it's a really good benefit.
To kind of expand on, what Betsy was talking in the beginning about weekly meetings and what that looks like, for our existing clients. And so I can speak to, Lyons, Los Animas, Littleton when we did them, as well as Woodland Park, Salida, all the other ones. And what we do for those, we have a weekly meeting. They're all on different days, but usually with the city manager or the town administrator, or the clerk, whoever's in charge of that municipality on the administrative side. And then usually also the mayor pro tem, whoever's designated to help control the agenda as well. And so part of that will be an agenda meeting where we say, this is what council's agenda is looking like for the next couple of meetings out. And, what are items that we need to be working on? What's the progress on items we've already been assigned? And making sure that we're always ready for the next council meeting, whatever that may be, for the agenda items that are present. We run for all of our clients a separate list of those issues, making sure they're being dealt with at the deadlines that we're giving to be done. On the administrative side, we can do the same thing. We can have just an administrative office hours I mentioned earlier, and keep a separate list where administrative items for the manager are being dealt with on the same timeframes that needed to be done.
Thanks.
Excuse me. Can you describe a time when working for a municipal client when it was a very rewarding or prideful?
Yes. So one of my very first clients, when I felt a lot of good pride, was back in West Virginia with the Kanawha County Board of Education. There were some wage payment issues, so that resulted in me working with bus drivers, going out to bus terminals. That was fun. It was cool. And then working with everybody from HR to payroll to accounting to general counsel to the superintendent. And that was one of the first times I really thought, wow, this is really cool to actually get to see how an entity works and how you can kind of try and make change within it while balancing a bunch of different personalities. That was so rewarding. I really liked that one. And even here, I was really proud most recently the way Woodland Park has handled the natural medicine in particular, because that's the main one that's kind of advancing at the moment. But the way they handle the natural medicine discussion, we had public comment. We had people come in as the facilitators and talk about, hey, here's what this is really going on. We aren't just sitting there taking mushrooms on the street. It's different. And I thought we had really good community feedback and good guidance. We had a great work session. So those are two that come off the top of my head. I could go on, but I probably don't need to. But that's, two times in my career, I've really felt really a good part of my heart.
And also be really brief on this, but something I think, Jeff and I both have shared is really rewarding to us is helping out those communities that, maybe weren't in a great place when we originally got there because of whatever the circumstances may have been, and seeing that community grow and really, fix what the problems were, or making sure we got the right staff in place so we can kind of move forward from whatever that event was. And so I think, seeing the council, the staff, grow with us and seeing what it becomes, I think has been really rewarding for several of our clients, over time.
Thank you.
You had mentioned serving for Littleton as the city attorney 2 different times. What constituted stopping and coming back and stopping again?
Yeah, so Littleton is a little bit larger community, has in-house attorneys generally. So they have an attorney and a deputy generally that serves them. And so unfortunately, during both situations, the attorney either resigned or had to leave. And so they had a void they needed to, fill for guidance. And so my law partner, Ken Fellman, had served one other time as city attorney at Littleton for a couple of years stint. And so we were asked through an interview process like this one, at least in the first case, to be city attorneys for a period of time until they could find in-house replacement. Because when you're that size, you really do need someone there at all times. And so we were just there on a temporary basis. But I think the work we were able to accomplish during both those stints was really helped move the city forward.
Kind of on that same note, like, what do you find is different between serving smaller clients versus larger clients?
Yeah, it's a really great question. And I serve personally a lot of small clients in my general city attorney work. And I think what you see at kind of the smaller you go in a lot of ways is that, there's not as many people on deck, to handle issues. And so you may be asked upon not necessarily to do the work, but, what have you seen in other places? Or can you help us find resources, for an issue the clerk is dealing with, the issue the town administrator, city administrator, public works director are dealing with. And that's different from a place like Littleton where there is a large staff and they can do a lot of times a lot of the kind of the groundwork. And the issues that come to you are really pure legal issues rather than how are the mechanics of this issue work, which we see with our smaller communities.
Yeah. So you find it pretty helpful for the smaller communities that you serve a variety of communities, then I'm sure. 'Cause you can
Definitely. Yeah,
give
they're all
different
learn.
examples.
Yeah, they're all learning off each other. We learn lessons, they learn lessons, and having a kind of a wide variety of communities in a geographically diverse area even has really helped, I think, benefit all of them. And they're all pretty much similar size in a lot of ways. We have a few smaller ones, but they're similar size.
And you'll notice that our firm doesn't serve big, huge municipalities. They're all Sheridan size. And one of the cool things about that is municipalities of this size are nimble. They can make changes quickly. You can implement things. The amount of space from conception of a plan to execution, you don't have to go through 15 committees and hand it off and study it 12 ways. You can make a difference and move the needle. And that's why we're all doing this, to move the needle, make things better. And it's extremely rewarding in jurisdictions of this size. So it's no mistake that our firm represents communities. I grew up in a small town. I kind of am most comfortable around local governments that are like that. And so this is where I am.
Would all three of you be serving us, or would it just be primarily you?
So I would be the primary point of contact. Everything would kind of come through me. And the reason for that is it just lets me delegate out. For example, say an issue on elections or ethics came up. It's not that I don't know it, but Jeff is an expert. So in the interest of really getting that knowledge and brain, but also just cost efficiency, perhaps that gets dealt with him. Say an issue came up that Brandon, was particularly talented or expertise in, he would get it. Employment, I got that all day, so it's like you just have to really try to use your resources and push them out. However, I would be the primary person here interacting with you and your point of contact. Same for staff.
When you met with our staff, what did you think?
I loved them. It was really great. Everybody was really great. Chief Martinez was wonderful. I love the city clerk. The city manager was wonderful as well. Planning was great. He was really funny. It was
Wait a minute, who was funny?
Andrew.
Andrew.
I know we had a good.
Oh, Andrew, you funny, Andrew?
He made me smile.
We didn't know that about you, Andrew. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And everybody was really knowledgeable. It was a good collegial atmosphere, which is a huge benefit when you walk in somewhere, just to see that. And I could tell everybody's really proud of working here, which always reflects well on management, quite frankly, in my opinion, but also the people you hire, right? But I thought those were all really great things about coming in, and I really liked it. I thought we had a good conversation between how do we kind of keep track of tasks, how do we keep them moving, everything like that. So I thought it was nice. I appreciated the fact that one of the things seemed to be, are you willing to be here in person? Are you willing to come hang out in the community if there's an event? Yes, that's part of what I genuinely do miss about West Virginia. It's, you just get a chance to know people. And I love living in a bigger place, but it's something I miss. And that's something I've just naturally kind of done my whole life. So it'd be an easy transition for me.
Somebody asked a question about favorite clients in the last interview. I just want to say,
I'm waiting on Jay's question. I'm waiting on Jay's question.
Yeah, Jeff's gonna do that. I think, I think everybody has certain things that you love the most. And I would be like a parent to say.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jay, ask that question. Who's better?
Yeah.
One with 5 recalls. Nice.
What would you say would be, a really strong advantage over the other firms that are, that we're considering today?
So I think a lot of it really does deal with the way our firm is set up and what our firm core values are. We have a really great team of different areas of expertise. We really do meet every Thursday in person, minimum of an hour. We high point things. I've done a good job of kind of doing the resources and research files as it relates to certain topics, throwing things in there. So say somebody else in a community, I'm busy on something. Well, here's everything on it. Here's a memo. We keep people updated. Hey, I did this template. I dealt with this matter. If you all are dealing with this, here it is in this file. That's some of that. Also, my background again, I came from a lot of billable hours and a lot of files. And so I will say I'm used to handling 30 to 40 cases at a time. And something I really enjoy about this work is I can really focus and actually give the attention I always wanted to things. So to me, I already have that skill just built in. But yeah, and if Brandon wants to speak to that or Jeff as well, but I think at least from a personal level, I have no concerns. And you all would be my primary.
What are your core values, if you could just put it to a couple bullet points?
Yeah, the core values, I believe in, they'll fill in as well, but teamwork, making sure that, when people come in, that they get the benefit of all of us. We don't try to do a one size fits all approach. While I said templates and I said, here's an idea, it doesn't mean that just because somebody else did something one way that I think you all have to do it that way. The benefit is I just have a resource. I have an example. I have a way to draw upon what worked, what didn't. And so I think those are some things that really you get value from our firm with. And I'm sure Brandon and Jeff can expand a little bit on what really speaks to them with those, but I think those are some of the main ones for me.
To your question about how we might be different from other applicants, and this ties into some of the earlier questions. Our firm doesn't just go apply for any opening that happens to come up and then figure out how to staff it after we hook the fish. We make sure we have the staff to provide the level of service that we expect of ourselves in every case, or we don't apply. It'd be our hope sincerely that the last time you have to ever ask yourself, how often are we going to be available, will be this time. Because our standard for performance is to make each one of our clients feel like they're the biggest thing in the world, and we turn stuff around in a hurry. We don't screw around. So we take our work seriously, but not ourselves. If you take yourself seriously, you end up in the state mental hospital.
That's right.
This kind of work.
All right. I think, do you have any questions for us? I think it's probably our last question.
Staff was very good at answering a lot of that mechanical stuff.
Great.
Yeah, honestly, I would say they were. I just appreciate you all speaking to us and giving us the time here today. And it would be a pleasure to represent you all if we're selected.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
I think, Mayor, process wise, we've got 10 minutes. We could have just what we were going to do, and just to let you, Jeff, you guys and Betsy and Brandon know, we were going to we were gonna go and do our regular meeting at 7 and then come back to our work session afterwards and have a general discussion, but I mean, we got 10 minutes. Do you guys want to have that discussion now, or do you want to try, or do you want to wait?
I
It's-
think we
it's up
could-
to
we
you
could go
guys.
ahead. They'll see an example of our culture and that we like to get meetings done as fast as possible.
5 minutes.
All right, all right. Then what if it's all right, Mayor, I'm gonna share with the rest of council what I shared with you.
Yeah.
Previously. Sorry? Well, I was gonna actually ask you guys to go out, and then we'll have the discussion between ourselves. Yeah, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
thank you. Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you all.
guys.
Yeah, thank you.
But-
Chevy, you don't have to go. Oh, you know, oh, I didn't think you were. Oh, okay.
Chevy, where you going? Just got here.
I'll share what the rest of council, what I shared with the mayor earlier. We had some very good interviews with both of the firms. The interview committee was myself, the chief, Jenna, and Andrew. Great discussions with both firms, and I think I can say that the staff opinion was that both firms were very qualified, and either one of those firms could do the job and do it very well for us. I believe, though, that it was pretty much a consensus that our preference would be for Jeff Wilson's firm that we just had the discussion with. Again, that was it was more based around, I think that they would fit very well with our existing staff and with our council. I think that they have the level of experience and understanding with smaller communities. They get how small cities work. They get how small staffs work. They get how what we're looking for and how we're looking for it. Incredibly, as you can tell from what Betsy said, incredibly organized, and a nice approach to the way that they service their clients. So we had pretty well a consensus position that that would be staff's recommendation. Staff, anything that I forgot that you guys would like to throw in there?
Public Works, so that was good.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So then I think what we're looking for is, I mean, you have a few minutes to discuss amongst yourselves, and we are not going to vote on anything tonight, but you can give direction to staff as to who you would like me to start working with on a contract.
I'm ready
you
to
have-
vote tonight.
Or if you have any other questions from the materials that
Yeah.
weren't for the interview, if you have questions for Devin.
Yeah,
ask those.
anything that we might have, your wonder got covered with the staff interviews, which were pretty extensive. We went over, all the, I had each of the department heads write up specific questions to the clerk, to PD, to community development, and how would they, so it was very specific levels of questions that we went into through those interview process.
Yeah, so feel free questions, or if you have a preference, you want to talk about what you liked about a particular firm, go for it.
I like the second group. I think they gave good information and everything. I like them.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I like the energy. I also like I said, staff recommended.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna lean towards, no matter was what staff recommended, because they're really gonna be the ones working with staff more than us.
Mhm.
So that's what I recommend as well.
I just want to note that on the first applicant, I felt that they were a little more thorough on their application. And it really made me feel like they took the time and effort to present themselves. That being said, I really like the idea of having Jeff on board with his 29 years of expertise with CML. He knows the partners and the players that can help guide us forward. So I'm kind of leaning more towards to the second one.
A lot of experience.
I
Yeah.
agree. I like Wilson's firm better. I feel like we got really more specific answers to a lot of our questions, not so much kind of vague hypothetical I don't know.
Yeah.
You got more firm answers, especially the question of, about what brings you pride, in your
Right.
work. Because to me, that shows like whether that person really has a heart for the
Right.
job.
I mean,
Are they really
Yeah.
passionate
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
municipal
she
law,
was super
She has,
energetic
and she has a
passionate.
lot of confidence. I
Yeah.
think that's like a huge thing. Like,
Yeah.
she could tell she's very confident in her ability to do the work, so.
Yeah, so
That's
that answer I thought was excellent.
Yeah.
I felt like I took a lot of notes during Hillary and Kendra, and then I'm looking at my notes from Jeff, Brandon, and Betsy, and I've got even more notes there. So I made more points of what they were talking about, and I just felt like they knew what they were talking about and
Mhm.
are confident, and it makes me feel confident about them. I really liked Jeff a lot.
Yeah, he's a pretty likable person.
Yeah.
What about you, Anthony? You have any particular points you want to bring up?
Yeah, I like that, as far as
Yeah,
Brandon and
speaking to your mic, Anthony. That way Andrea can hear you.
We all want to hear you.
I liked Betsy, Brandon, and Jeff. They all kind of agreed that they enjoyed, making a change for the better.
Mhm.
Also like their answer as far as making you feel like you're the only client. And then of course Jeff's legal experience, but both of the interviews felt fairly identical. As far as they kind of gave up most of the same answers and seemed very capable. But
Okay. Do we have a general consensus then to go with Wilson, Williams, Fellman, Dittman?
Mhm.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks,
So what
everybody.
the plan would be is that spend the rest of this week and probably next week as well, working on putting together a contract for council consideration and look at bringing that to your next meeting for your consideration. And I'll work with Mary Lynn on that. She'll help us with putting that contract together.
Thank you, everybody, and thanks staff for your hard work
Yeah,
narrowing it
thank you.
down for us.
Well, and I will say that we had 5 submittals,
Mhm.
and all of them were very, very good, actually. And we got proposals from some of the top firms in the state that do this. And so I was very pleased with the outcome, and I think that speaks well to the city of Sheridan, to the staff, and to the elected officials. When we talk with people about you guys as a group and how you work, that is very attractive to folks like this to be able to come in and work with a well-functioning, efficient, and effective group of elected officials and staff, excellent staff. So I'm grateful, but I'm not surprised that we got some of the best people to submit for this, because it's a great place to work. So we'll, again, work on doing that, and we'll target your next meeting in March to bring forward that contract.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting then at 6:59 PM. Yeah. Andrea, could we have a fresh introduction for our next meeting?
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Andrea with the Community Language Cooperative. We're going to practice language justice, and we're going to provide simultaneous interpretation in English and Spanish so that we can communicate in the language of our heart. Once we turn on the interpretation, if you're on Zoom, you're going to see a globe that is going to come up at the bottom of your screen. You're going to go there, click it, and select your preferred language. If you don't see the globe, go to the three little dots or where it says more and select your language. Hola a todos, soy Andrea con la Community Language Cooperative. Vamos a practicar la justicia del lenguaje el día de hoy para que podamos hablar y escuchar en el idioma de nuestro corazón. Una vez que aprendamos la interpretación, vas a ver un globo en la parte inferior de tu pantalla donde vas a poder seleccionar tu idioma entre inglés o español. Si no ves el globo, selecciona los tres punticos donde dice más y escoge tu idioma preferido. And host, we can start interpretation now.
Thank you, Andrea. All right. I'll call to order this regular meeting of the Sheridan City Council for March 10th, 2025. The time is 7:02 p.m. Can we have roll call, please? All right, we have all members present. We rise for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
God of peace, we pray for unity in our meeting today. We have come together as a group, united in passion and purpose. Come and help us maintain unity as we discuss certain matters. We pray for open hearts and minds that will promote and accept better ideas. If there be anyone who is remiss and failing, we ask for humility to accept and learn from necessary correction. Dear God, we seek your honor in everything we do and say. So we lift up this meeting to you. Be in our midst. Bind our hearts and minds by your Spirit. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any changes to our agenda?
No changes to the agenda, Madam Mayor.
Okay, great. And we'll start off with staff reports. City Clerk, what do you have?
Yes, just a couple of things. So everybody has a room for CML. And it will
Yes,
be
good job.
at the host hotel that was sold out like within an hour. So yes, everybody's got a room. I kept like watching it.
Yeah.
That will be June 24th to June 27th. So make sure to get with me to get your registration booked. There's a few different options. I sent out an email with more information on that. Next thing is our youth commission kickoff is going to be April 28th. We will be doing that before the council meeting. So Councilmember Marino and myself will be doing a presentation talking about the importance of our youth commission. And then just a couple personal items for me. I am going on vacation. So I will be out of office March 13th to March 24th. You are in good hands with Reagan. He will be preparing the next packet for you. And then I will also be out of town April 7th to April 13th. And I am happy to answer any questions. That's all I have.
No one wants to ask where she's going, huh?
I was going to, but I was like, you know what? I was like, let me not be all nosy, but where you going?
Well, I'm taking my family to go to Kauai this next week. So we are going to Kauai with the kids, going to do some surf lessons. We're going to ride some horses on the beach. So
Wow.
doing it up big. We haven't been on vacation since 2019.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's overdue. And then in April, I'm going to Munich, Germany. I was invited to join my husband for an expo for his work. And so the two of us are going to Germany and leaving
Nice.
the kids here. So
Nice.
it's going to be very good.
Ausgezeichnet.
Yes. So yeah, you are in great hands with Reagan. He'll make sure you're all taken care of. And I won't be missing any council meetings. So I'll be back to tell you all about it. Yes. And that is all I have this evening.
Okay. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mary. I do have a couple of items. The first is I wanted to give a legal opinion that the clerk absolutely does need a couple of vacations.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to,
If I'd known that, I would have been
verify that-
pressuring her. I don't.
yes. And she'll also give me an excuse to practice my German. So we need to talk. The second item, council, I did want to address a question that was brought up by Councilor Stang at our last meeting regarding ordinance. Let me make sure I get the ordinance number right here. Ordinance number 5-2025, and this is your ordinance amending chapter 22 of the Sheridan Municipal Code by enacting a new article, I think it's 4, Article 4 pertaining to the regulation of massage facilities. So I did want to report back to you on that. Councilor Stang had brought up the possibility of whether council could enact hours of operation limitations as part of its ordinance update for massage facilities. I did more closely review the state laws that have come out in 2022 and 2024 regarding these new required local regulations that the General Assembly has put in place. And I wanted to give you a couple of points and my opinion for council's consideration of why we may not enact hours of operation restrictions, at least at this time. So first, I wanted to reiterate for council that the General Assembly has now required local governments to adopt licensing regulations for massage facilities. And this is a quote, for the sole purpose of deterring illicit massage businesses and preventing human trafficking. So there's a very clear and specific purpose for these regulation requirements or regulatory requirements. And specifically, the General Assembly is requiring local governments, counties, and cities and towns to require fingerprint-based criminal history background checks for owners, operators, managers, and separately, massage therapists are already licensed by the state. So these are new licensing requirements and background check requirements specifically for owners, operators, and managers and key employees that were not in place before. So it's a new enforcement mechanism to ensure that any massage facilities operating in Sheridan are operating legitimately and not for purposes of any illicit or criminal activity. A couple other points are that the General Assembly recognized that most licensed massage therapists in Colorado are practicing lawfully and ethically, but also that the General Assembly did not intend to make the practice of lawful massage therapy more difficult for licensed massage therapists. So while there are probably some very valid considerations for why maybe a massage business doesn't need to be open 24/7. At this time, the General Assembly has made it clear that an ordinance that is adopted by a local government must not be more restrictive than the requirements set forth in the state law. And so reviewing that state law, it does not allow any limitations on hours of operation at this time. Now, if the General Assembly change that, I am certain that your new city attorneys would let you know if there was an opportunity there or if we did need to update the law. And then finally, the state laws do also specify that any business licensing requirements enacted by a local government may only include an enumerated list of items, and those did not include hours of operation limitations. And so while I very much wanted to validate, and I do very much appreciate the suggestion of adding hours of operation, my recommendation at this time is that the council enact the ordinance as written, but also that you can look to your police chief and your city manager and your city clerk for information about potential enforcement and what that might look like going forward, about their awareness of any massage facilities in town. And also, I think it's important to note that existing businesses that may be here and operating will have to come into compliance with these requirements. It's not something that's only going to apply to future businesses that come to town. Any massage facility in Sheridan now will have until October 1st to be licensed and to get those background checks for all required employees, owners, operators, anyone who's required to get that under the state law and now the city's ordinance if you do enact it this evening. So I know that's a lot, but I wanted to give the full picture of why I'm making my recommendation, but also again validate the concern. But I do believe with your staff that they'll be able to keep an eye on businesses and continue to, because it really is a continued effort of the city, and the city's been successful in addressing any illicit businesses in town. So it would be the same matter going forward, except you're giving them additional tools to enforce that these facilities are operating lawfully and ethically. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
So when we were having the Natural Medicine Healing Center
Mhm.
discussion, you had used massage therapy facilities and their limit of hours of operation as one of the reasons that we might do that for the Natural Medicine Healing Centers. And I used that personally as one of the reasons that I thought that Natural Medicine Healing Centers should have limitations of hours that would be similar. Do you remember that discussion? Does everybody remember that discussion?
No.
Okay. So I guess I was surprised to hear that there aren't any hours of operation limitations for massage therapy places.
There are for other types of businesses. I do recall what you're speaking to. And I know that the city manager and I were trying to find examples of where we do have limitations on hours of operation in Sheridan. And the only ones I'm aware of, after reviewing your code and then also looking into state law further for Sheridan specifically, are the limitations under the Colorado Liquor Code for hours of operation and sales. So to the extent I referenced massage businesses, that would have been an error in terms of hours of operation. We do, I'm thinking of the other types of licensed businesses.
Marijuana.
We don't. Oh,
So
marijuana,
but alcohol and marijuana really are the only ones that I can think of right now off the top of my head. Yeah, and very similar to what we're talking about. Yeah.
Is Sheridan about to get a bunch of massage businesses or something that I don't know about?
Not the where
We
we're
have
at all.
one in River Point that closed at 8 p.m.
Right,
I just looked it up.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now, I will say, we've had them in the past.
I mean, Happy's gone.
Yeah, yeah. Happy massage is gone. Yes.
So I'm just saying.
And we have
you know?
not seen,
Yeah.
any similar operators show any interest at this point.
Yeah. So, I mean,
But I can't say that there aren't,
Mhm.
that there isn't anybody interested or that has planned.
yeah.
Right. And one more thing about the state law is a municipality with no massage facilities is not required to enact anything with respect to the law. But when we do have one, which I believe we do have at least one in Sheridan, you do need to enforce the criminal background check provisions. So, yeah.
Well, thanks for that additional research. Anybody have any follow-up questions on that? No? Okay. Anything else for us, Mary Lynn, or? No, I guess not.
No. Oh, no, Mayor, I don't. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor. A few items to go through. Last week, I attended the ICMA Local Government Conference in Denver, and Andrew and Mel did a presentation. They hosted a session there on sustainability and intergovernmental agreements. They did a great job on it. Was very informative. Made both cities, Sheridan and Inglewood, look very good. And so want to thank them for their efforts and what they did on that. You should be proud. Let's see, attended, I think Councilmember Whitaker has some pictures. We attended a Bridge House tour of the new Ready to Work facility, well, Ready to Work and navigation facilities in one building. But exciting to see that project moving along. They're in the process of finish work right now, a few utilities still to go in, or I shouldn't say utilities, appliances, things along those match. So they're making good progress. They're on schedule for opening up. I think we're still in June, July timeframe, something like that. Anyway. Very good. And I know, I think Jay was going to share some pictures later. So, okay. Another thing to be aware of, and I know council is aware of this, but we had our first day court last week, and it went, I think, Surprisingly well. I think I'll put it that way. You know, when you make a significant change like that, moving from night court to day court, and just the different processes and things that are going on with that, and different times in the building, and we were. I'll speak for myself. I was a little apprehensive. You know, something's going to happen. You just, you know, it's going to be one of those things. But it went surprisingly well, very smooth. We were concerned how parking might be impacted. It was full, it was tight, but I didn't see any kinds of situations where we had like people double parking or parking where they shouldn't be parking, or just driving around looking for a spot. Again, it was tight. But we got some things that we can work on here on that, is like some better signage outside pointing people towards overflow parking, some things along those lines. But as far as the day itself with court went, it went, I think, really pretty well. Councilmember Camacho came in and was present and watching a little bit. So we watched a little bit of court, and I hadn't watched court in a while. So it was fun. It was good. I'll put a plug into for council's new municipal judge, that Judge Soros is awesome. She's great. And so it was really fun to watch her work. Let's see. We've set up, Andrew reached out to Valley Sanitation District. We're going to have a touch base meeting with Valley next week or week after, I'm not quite sure. Just on what's the status of where are they, and then what's the status of Sand District 1 and what's going on with that. You know, remember, Sand District 1 is the one that we used a lot of the COVID, the ARPA money to help stand it up and make it functional again, and put a board in place. So that process is supposed to be moving towards dissolution of that sanitation district and looking at Valley Sand absorbing them into their operations. And so this will be more of a kind of a touch base. Where are we going with that? Also, just at a service level or level of service discussion with them, with us bringing Bonsai Flats online. That's in there. The service area for District 1. It's a lot of new customers coming on, and making sure that we're addressing any issues that we have with that. So just a heads up, we're going to be, or just to let you guys know, we're trying to keep an eye on that as well. We have Can Do scheduled for this Friday, March 14th. We're not changing time yet, are we, Andrew? We're thinking about that. We'll let you guys know. We did some survey work with everybody that attends that on a regular basis, and that was one of the questions that we're discussing. But primarily, I think this upcoming meeting is going to be community roundtable, and I think are we going to discuss the survey? Okay, so we'll talk about survey. So we might have some future changes to recommend that be coming out of that discussion as well. Nothing so drastic as doing, it'll be, everybody still wants to do Can Do, but do we look at a different day, different time, different things like that. So let's see. The chief and I and the mayor will be attending the mayor's, managers, and commissioners meeting later this month at Greenwood Village. There's going to be a discussion about federal actions and impacts, which should be interesting. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. Chief and I are going to learn more this week as well. So just another kind of calendar update that we will be attending that discussion with the mayor's, managers, and commissioners meeting. Lastly, spring break for my kids is the week of the 17th of March. So I might be just kind of in and out doing things. We don't have any really super cool trips or anything like that, man. But you know, but might just jump out for a day or two here with the kids to go do something. Just to let you guys know, might be out. That's it, Mayor. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks. Any questions from council? Okay, Chief.
Just a couple of things. So the Citizens Academy last day was last Tuesday, and it went really well. We made some really great relationships, and it was just really rewarding. So again, I believe that is doing a great thing, bringing especially our Spanish speaking citizens to some understanding of what we do and building good relationships. So just want to let you know that went well. We had an opportunity to, through Commander Ledger, his daughter she writes a lot of grants and she's been helping write one for us for a JAG grant. And one of the things that we're trying to get is a true NARC system, which basically tests drugs without having to open them. Today, it's so extremely dangerous for our officers, but in order to jail someone, they have to get a presumptive that it is testing as whatever narcotic that they are trying to put them in jail for. And with fentanyl and some of those things, it's extremely dangerous. So we want to get a true NARC system, which is something that allows us to do that without opening the package. Talked a little bit to the city manager about that. Of course, he always wants to protect our staff, so we are looking at doing that. But we've found a grant that we believe may cover that, and that's about a $35,000 purchase. So that will be very good if we get that. Along with that JAG grant, we asked for some ballistic shields and ballistic blankets, which will help keep our officers protected. We do have some shields. They only have a life of 5 years. They'll still work after, but they're not guaranteed. So they're supposed to be replaced every 5 years. So that would be something that we're asking for in here. Hopefully we'll get that, which would be another $12,000 or so. And then we have an opportunity to send a few of our sergeants to an advanced rifle school, just in case we ever have a situation where we have to take action from afar, or just being better prepared for those type of incidents. So I think that's a very positive opportunity that we had with Commander Ledger coming over and being able to utilize some of the resources that he brought over. I just think that's great for our city, because the grants are out there, but we, of course, too small to have a full-time grant writer, and we're getting the expertise, and I think that's important for our city. And then one thing that I'm not so happy to report on, our clock that was supposed to be installed tomorrow, we got delayed again. We don't have a firm date, but we are asking for some considerations because it keeps getting delayed. And one of the things we are supposedly going to get is at least a more extended warranty. And then if we get another date and they don't meet it, there's some, at this point, the offer that they may not have us pay that final invoice payment, which would be, we end up getting it for basically half price, but we'll see how that all comes to fruition. We should get another date here. Hopefully it'll be relatively soon. The 31 years that the person that we're working with and their experience, they've never had this problem where they're being told they're getting this and they haven't. Again, it's coming from Belgium. The rest of the clock is built, but I know it's frustrating, and I'm embarrassed to come to you again and say it's not getting installed. So I apologize for that. We are working diligently on that, and we'll either get something going or talk about other alternatives.
Thanks, Chief. Don't worry, it doesn't reflect on you.
Oh.
I don't think it does at all, so
They need me to
worry
go
about
pick
it.
up the part.
Yeah.
I'll fly to Belgium and go get it.
We'll see about that. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Man, I got flight benefits from Delta, so
Yeah.
I can fly for free.
He's gonna fly for free.
I
for
can
you.
fly for free.
Yeah.
All right.
If they need me to come get the part, I'll go get it.
All right. Let's see what we can do. Thank you for your understanding. Any other questions for me?
Look like it. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the minutes. Minutes of the regular city council meeting of February 24th, 2025. I have a motion from Councilmember Stang and a second from Councilmember Kelly. Any discussion on the minutes? Please cast your votes. Motion is approved unanimously. Next, we have the consent agenda, approval of disbursements, authorized disbursements that have been or will be made from February 16th, 2025 to February 28th, 2025, in the amount of $594,134.77 per the referenced and attached transfer of funds. I have a motion from Councilmember Whitaker and seconded by Councilmember Moreno. Any questions or discussions on the disbursements? Please cast your votes. That motion is approved unanimously. Next tonight, we have ordinances on second reading, and we'll invite comments from the public on each of these before consideration. So we have ordinance 2 of 2025, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sheridan, Colorado, amending section 10-55 alcoholic beverage tastings of the Sheridan Municipal Code. I have a motion from Councilmember Kelly and a second from Councilmember Stang. Anyone on council have any discussion on this ordinance? Anyone from the public who'd like to speak about ordinance number 2? See anyone? Yes?
Hey, Mayor, I'm not going to speak. I just wanted to, and I should have prefaced this before, with the range of all the ordinances that you have on second reading for you this evening, I don't think we have any significant changes. No, there was one that we were changing the date. Is that right, Jenna?
Yes.
And that's it. And the clerk will make you aware of that. But other than that, there has been no changes since first reading.
Thank
So
you.
everything is the same as you saw at the previous meeting during first reading.
Great. Okay. Any other questions or comments before we vote on ordinance 2? Okay, please cast your votes. That motion is approved unanimously. Next, we have ordinance 3 of 2025, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sheridan, Colorado, amending the definition of household set forth in section 56-3 of the Sheridan Municipal Code. I have a motion from Councilmember Moreno and a second from Councilmember Camacho. Any discussions on ordinance 3?
Can you remind me of what that definition is again? I'm sorry. I could probably look at it, but it's really tiny.
See if I get to it in the packet before they do. Got it?
Right, Councilmember Singh. So this is the state bill that was passed last year that we can't have a numerical limit to the number of people that can reside in a household together.
Okay.
So it's removing that from our code. Currently, we have a limit of 5, but because of that legislation, we can't have that limit anymore.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
Great. Is there anyone from the public who, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Mayor, I just wanted to add
Yeah.
to Director Rory's statement that the other purpose of the bill is we can't limit occupancy based on familial relationships but we can have limits, which this definition does, based on health and safety. So yeah, the other piece was not limiting by blood, marriage, adoption, legal guardianship, et cetera, familial status. So that's
Okay.
all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have anyone from the public who'd like to speak on ordinance number 3? Seeing none, we'll vote. That motion is approved unanimously. Ordinance 4 of 2025, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sheridan, Colorado, enacting section 50-37 of Article 5 of Chapter 50 of the Sheridan Municipal Code regarding the prohibition of gambling devices. I have a motion from Councilmember Moreno and a second from Councilmember Whitaker. Any questions or discussions on ordinance 4? Anyone from the public who'd like to speak on ordinance number 4? Okay, let's vote. That motion is approved unanimously. Next, we have ordinance number 5 of 2025, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sheridan, Colorado, amending Chapter 22 of the Sheridan Municipal Code by enacting Article 4 pertaining to the regulation of massage facilities. We have a motion from Councilmember Whitaker and a second by Councilmember Camacho. Any questions or discussion on ordinance number 5? Anyone from the public who'd like to speak on ordinance number 5? Okay, let's vote then. That motion is approved unanimously. Next, we have ordinance 6 of 2025, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sheridan, Colorado, amending section 46-32, specific nuisances of the Sheridan Municipal Code. I have a motion from Councilmember Kelly and a second by Councilmember Whitaker. Any discussion on ordinance 6? Anyone who'd like to speak to council on ordinance 6 from the public? Let's cast a vote on it. Motion is approved unanimously. Next, yes, go ahead.
Mayor, just and before we move on, I just want, in case we have anybody in the audience or anybody online that just looked and we just went through and approved a whole bunch of ordinances just like that, just so they know, at the previous meeting, we had a whole work session that was spent just on talking about all these ordinances here. We had first reading and we had a discussion about each one of these ordinances. And council had that opportunity to ask questions and talk amongst themselves. So I always try and remind people of that when they see us coming through and just, woo, man, they're fast, they're good. Well, we did spend time reviewing these and looking at this.
We're
so,
fast,
yeah.
but we do think about things.
Yes.
All right, now we have ordinances on first reading. Ordinance 7 of 2025, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sheridan, Colorado, rezoning the property located at 3050 West Hamilton Place from the Commercial Com C Zone District to the Business Light Industrial Business LI Zone District with conditions as an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sheridan, Colorado, amending section 46.
Mayor, that,
What
those
happened
last
there?
3 lines are
Yeah.
not part of the ordinance title.
Yeah. I was
So-
like, wait a minute, supposed to end with conditions,
With
right?
conditions, you got
Yes.
it.
Okay,
And
thank
Mayor,
you.
before you call for a motion, may I make a quick comment for
Yes.
council's benefit?
Please.
So I want to thank the mayor for advising the city clerk and the city clerk letting me know that the public hearing date in the ordinance is incorrect. I had it for first reading. You all will hold your public hearing on this ordinance on second reading. Our zoning code requires a public hearing on a rezoning. So to that end, I wanted to recommend that council, when you make your motion to approve the ordinance on third reading, that you do so with an amendment to correct the third recital, or the public hearing date in the third recital. And then we will be sure that when this comes back to you on second reading on March 24th, that date is correct.
So you want that amendment tonight or not? Sorry. I think
No,
you
so
said
it
third
would be a
reading, so
motion
it didn't
to
make any
approve
sense.
what was that?
I think you said third reading and I was like, I don't.
Oh, third recital.
Yeah.
Third recital. Sorry about that. I may have said third reading. So I would recommend that council make a motion to approve the ordinance with an amendment to the third recital
Okay.
to correct the public hearing date. That should do the trick if one of you is willing to make that motion.
Yes, I'll need a motion to amend.
Do you want a separate motion?
Yeah,
Okay, so never mind. Let's go with what the clerk would like. So you'll
and just go in
move.
the system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll move to approve the ordinance on first reading, then make a
Oh,
motion
no,
to amend.
right now you have someone hits on their screen, motion to amend, it'll pop it right
Oh.
up.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't know how to use your technology, so you listen to the clerk, please. Thank you, council.
Yeah, so if someone will hit amend and then we're going to
I don't know if
change.
the amend button worked.
Yeah, I'm typing in the amendment
Jen is
right now.
putting it in right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I was like, I typed it I hit it like 7 times. I didn't see it pop up.
Okay.
I did. I was like,
And while she's doing that, I'll just take this opportunity to remind council, this is a zoning matter. So this is first reading tonight. We're not going to have any discussion about it. It is simply first reading. This really puts everybody on notice that the council is considering a zoning issue. Please remember, this is a quasi judicial issue, as are all zoning issues. So you have to limit your discussions about this outside of this room amongst yourselves and with anybody else. If you have questions about this measure, please direct them to myself or the city attorney. We're happy to answer questions. If you receive questions, we can help you answer those things. But remember, you're sitting up there as judges on the zoning issue. You can only consider the evidence that's placed in front of you. Don't go out looking for new evidence. Don't go out looking to talk to anybody about this. You can only have the discussion amongst yourselves in this venue in second reading. Okay? Thank you.
Thanks. All right, so
So we're gonna
we need-
vote on the amendment first.
Okay.
To add or to change the date.
change the date in the third whereas.
Yes.
to March 24th, 2025. And so I have a motion to amend from Councilmember Kelly with a second from Councilmember Stang. And first we'll vote on that motion to amend. All right, that amendment is approved unanimously. All right, and then we'll vote on ordinance 7 as amended. And I think I already read the motions on that one, maybe. It's been so long now.
Yes, we have a motion by Councilmember
did.
Stang. and
Okay.
A second by Councilmember Kelly.
Great. All right, anyone have any questions? Just keeping in mind, this is just first reading and basically setting the date for ordinance 7. Okay, please cast your votes. That motion is approved unanimously. All right, we'll go on to resolutions. We have two resolutions tonight. Resolution 7 of 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sheridan appointing Jason Abbey as an at-large member to the Planning and Zoning Commission and establishing his term of office. I have a motion from Councilmember Whitaker and a second from Councilmember Camacho. Any discussion on Resolution 7? I'd like to say thanks to Jason Abbey for working on the Planning Commission. I know he's been on there before, so I appreciate him continuing to serve on the commission. All right, let's have a vote. That motion is approved unanimously. Next, we have Resolution 8 of 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sheridan, Colorado, establishing citywide greenhouse gas emission reduction goals. I have a motion from Councilmember Moreno and a second from Councilmember Whitaker. Does anyone have any questions? We do have Mel here. I'm sure she'd be glad to talk if you have anything to ask.
And Mayor, I'll just point out that as council member, we had a pretty lengthy work session on this and had a lengthy discussion about this. And so the goals that are in the resolution reflect everything that the council talked about. I guess it's been a couple meetings ago now or so that we did that. So, and thank you to Mel for putting those together for us.
Yeah. See any questions? So we'll go ahead and vote. That is approved unanimously. All right, that's the end of the voting. Hooray. That's a bunch for tonight. Next, we have Mayor's Choice. So I just wanted to mention, I also went on the Bridge House tour. It's really exciting to see that facility coming together. They're pretty close now. And I'm just thrilled. It won't be too much longer till we can start referring people there for services and actually have somewhere for people to stay while they're getting services and getting connected. I also met some members of the board there. One of the board members did mention that they're going to try to gradually change the composition of Bridge House's board, since they now are going to have a third location to try to represent those geographic areas. So I think they have there was at least one person there who on the board who was from Englewood, but they want to get up to they have a 19-member board. They want to get up to like 6 people from the Tri-Cities area. So just kind of keep that in mind if you're thinking of something else to do in the future that might be a possibility.
So Mayor, are they just adding to the existing board or are they looking?
No, they're looking to have, I think they said 6, 6, and 7, like to the split between Boulder, Aurora, and Tri-Cities on the board.
Okay.
Which I thought was great. I'm glad they're going to
Sure.
do that so that
Yeah,
we're
good.
represented in that group. No.
No.
So, I mean, I'd be glad to reach out if anyone's interested and kind of put a bug in their ear, you know. Okay, and then I went to the Metro Mayor's Caucus Housing, Hunger, and Homelessness meeting this week. They had a presentation from Dr. Cog from Sheila Lynch and one of their data analysts there, showing the dashboard from their completed housing assessment. And it's really cool. I don't know if you got it, see it demonstrated at all in your meetings, but I'll send it out to all of you so you can take a peek at it. But it's really slick because you can pick whichever cities you want in the metro area, and it'll bring up all the stats for those cities. And then you can just hit a button and you get like a download of the statistics, or you can hit a different button and you get an actual PowerPoint presentation with like all the facts about those cities. So it's really nice. And I was talking with Devin, you know, about maybe seeing if we could do a little comparison between what they came up with for Sheridan versus what our, you know, the housing assessment that we paid for, and see how they compare, you know. But you know, it's a great tool, and it shows, you know, some various like time goals. Like I think one of them they put out was, I want to say 2034. So basically like a 10-year plan. How much more housing at different income levels does each jurisdiction need to add?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's really, really cool. Last thing I want to mention, I went to Randy's retirement party, and thanks, Jenna. I just wanted to give you some call out for putting that together. It was a really nice event. That's all I have. City council members, anybody have anything?
I've got a few things this evening. I don't want to take up, you know, the whole, you know, everybody's time on it, but Michael and I with Jean have been working on our spring project, which is called Park Palooza Be Planet Positive. And we decided this year to revisit Wildcat Park. And I took these pictures yesterday down there, and they've got one planter or one of their kind of gardens here that's got plants in it, but then everything else is looking pretty dismal. So we're going to add xeriscape to the existing planters, and then Jenna, will you go through just a couple of these? So here's where it's just looking kind of scarce. But the planters themselves, you know, there are some of the xeriscape that we planted 2 years ago that are coming back. But you know, they need mulch, they need additional plants. And then the one that we had originally, you can see it in the background. The first year we invited the community to use it as a garden, but it's been neglected for at least that whole year. So that's the community garden piece. And what we're gonna do is xeriscape that to match the other ones, to finish it out and beautify that park. It was kind of sketchy, I gotta say, when I was there yesterday, and when I pulled out my camera, there was a scattering of people that felt like they were, you know, I don't know. I think this park needs to be more welcoming, more community neutral, and just beautify it this year instead of going back to Bobcat Park. That's going to be on May 4th from, I believe it's 1 to 3. And I invite everyone to come and help out and dig in the gardens with us and get our hands dirty. And I think we're going to be giving away, you know, some gardening gloves and the sticks with the seeds on them that the kids can take home, and doing the egg crate bird feeders that went really well last year. Really looking forward to getting back to that park and back to this project. You know, the first year, South Suburban installed the sprinklers for us, and they're already on a timer, so it's going to be neat just to get those done again.
Great.
I took a couple pictures down at the Navigation Center. Here we're pictured with the Bridge House director, Melissa Green. And it was really great to see this place. It's cut into 2 sides. One is the Ready to Work program, which will house 50 people. The housing area was really well planned out, very clean. And then this one here, I think, is in the Navigation side. I don't know, they look very similar now, but in the Navigation side is where we're going to see more, you know, overnight cot style living, with kind of weekly goals set for people, where the other side, the Ready to Work program side, is like a year-long program, with a few more people. But it was so cool to see it. It's coming along really great. It was great to see everybody there.
Yeah, thanks for taking pictures.
Right. So then the third issue I have is more serious. And I guess I'm wondering, does anybody know anybody that's had a car stolen or broken into in the last few months? No. Just last weekend, my neighbor's car was stolen from in front of their house. I live up on King Street Hill. Pretty brazen. My camera's caught, you know, a hoodied individual with black nitrile gloves walking along, testing all the doors. And even the night after the car theft, the same person appeared to come back and be testing cars again, just walking down the street. So it really had me thinking about how what we can do. Colorado is still the highest in auto theft, and I just wonder if the consequences aren't high enough, if we aren't prosecuting to the fullest, if we need more police presence and police patrols. I spoke with one of the officers earlier today that said, you know, there's 2 officers on duty, and if they get a call, there's you know, nothing else going on in the city. So I'm just hoping that we can come up with, I don't know, hire more officers, get another patrol car, increase the penalties for people without insurance, just figure out a better solution. Because even in 2022, when they made auto theft a felony, regardless of the value of the vehicle, it's still, we are still the highest in the country for auto theft. I had a customer today that had their car stolen from a park and ride, and then they took the garage remote and the registration and went to the person's house and stole the other car, and then broke into the house and burglarized the home. And I don't know, my fear is that if we don't nip it, that and fentanyl in the bud here in Sheridan, that it's going to come out of control, and people are going to be coming here, just to steal cars, because there's a lot of, the mid early 2000s cars that are a little bit easier to steal.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just kind of looking to you guys to help me figure out, how we can create more accountability, lessen the chances that people get away. Do we need cameras, more lighting? Do we buy and give out motion sensing lights, or what can we do to lower this crime here? Bring back clubs, or give out those clubs that go on the steering wheels.
Usually a good thing to do is to start by looking at what other cities are doing, and see if there's anything we might like to emulate. If we think they've got some good programs that we don't have,
And I share your frustration, and I think what you'll find is all the cities in the metro area share your frustration on this right now. We are seeing, it's no secret that Colorado has had an issue, and the Denver metro area has had an issue with car thefts over time. I think that it is improving, is what I understand a little bit, but there are steps, and I think what I would recommend is that we can, I think what's important to know is have an understanding, here's what we're doing, here's what we are doing. Before we have a discussion about what do we need to do, I think you need to understand everything we are doing. I mean, you mentioned club giveaways and stuff like that. We've done that. So I can get with the chief. We can put together, some information for council saying, here's what we are doing. Here's what we're seeing. We're part of the task force that works on this. There is the communities in the area share information and try to cooperate on that, because it is a problem, and you don't want to just kick it from one jurisdiction to another jurisdiction. But we can have a discussion on this. I know the coach, the chief.
Coach.
The chief.
You can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. I know the chief is, he can discuss this much more than I do, but I don't think we're not going to solve it tonight and come up, but let's figure out, what do we already know? What do we already do? And if there are some suggestions that we can bring forward to you, as far as process, as far as anything else along the policy and things like that, we can take a look at that. Chief, do you have anything you wanted to add on that?
Yeah, Councilman, I know that's a frustrating issue. Colorado was #1 for a couple of years. We have went down a couple spots. We're still extremely high. I'm a board member of Colorado Auto Theft Prevention Authority, CATPA, which is out of the governor's office. The governor has made that a priority. There's been a lot of money that's been put towards prevention and other things that we can do. Those things have paid off a little bit, but Colorado is still extremely high. Part of that is the laws that, we've adopted, but again, can't put everybody in jail. So it's one of those things where people go to jail, but then they get right out. Back in Denver, I started a program called Stolen Cars Will Steal Your Future. Long name, but it was a program that was presented to our junior high and high school students, or middle school and high school students. And it talked about what happens when you're involved in a stolen car, because they were seeing their friends steal a car and be out the next day, no consequences, but actually they're not seeing the backside of it. There are consequences. They have a felony. If they were by chance going to get a scholarship or go to college, colleges aren't accepting them. When they go to apply for jobs, they're not getting them. The risk of being in a stolen car when they run from the police and, actually putting their lives at risk. So it's a 5-week program that we adopted and we used. It became part of a national, they used it nationally. I presented on it several different places. But of course, that's just a part of an ounce of prevention and we don't know. It's always difficult to say, is it really working? What we knew worked was that we built good relationships with the students that we thought needed the program. So it did have that positive effect, but I understand your frustration. It's terrible that we lead, or now we're not leading, but we are very high in our auto thefts and open to suggestions. So we'll do everything we can. We look at where cars are stolen, where they're recovered. We can look at that because oftentimes the individuals are still in the car. They're still in it from one place. They drop it off somewhere else, wherever they need to go. And then also we recover a still that came from, one of the other jurisdictions. Well, that's telling us there's somewhere in that area is probably the person who is stealing the cars. They don't park it in front of their house. They usually park it a couple blocks away so they can walk in. But you see these cars that end up landing there and are taken from there. So we're looking at that. I have not noticed a significant amount in where your general area where you live, but we'll look. We'll continue to be out there. It's concerning you say that person returned the next night, which would tell me they probably are living somewhere close by or at least temporarily. So we'll put extra patrols out there and definitely get out there to help. When you talk about more officers as chief of police, yeah, we definitely would want more officers. But of course, we have to balance that with what else is needed throughout, our city here. I would never say no to more officers, but I also find it difficult sometimes to advocate when I know there's other things we're trying to do. And for a city our size, and we look at our response times and the things that we have, we are blessed. We are very lucky. A lot of the other places you call and they're, 10, 15, 20 minutes, half hour or more before they're getting officers there. We're usually there within 5 minutes. That's a good indicator that we are right sized at this time. As our city continues to grow and some of these other developments that come about, that would probably be a more appropriate time where I could come forward and say, well, now we have this many more people here, this much more crime, and we can do that. Again, I'm not saying I don't want more officers. I'm just being honest with my feedback that it would be hard for me to advocate for that right now with the other needs of the city. So hope that helps. And
Yeah, I would like to see more officers, one more, and it resulting in more patrols, right? Just more cars in the street throughout the night. What about drone patrols? Is that a possibility? We have that drone. Do the batteries last long enough on those to where they can do a grid and cover a 3-mile area?
that's something that we've thought about. There's departments that do drone as first responders, so they send them out, but that takes personnel to actually sit there and actually be there to launch it and be ready to get out there. Right now, we're certified for line of sight. There's FAA guidelines that we can get that can have us go further than that, but right now we're not qualified to do that, or we're not certified to do that. Something that we can look at, but again, we need personnel then that would be sitting there that can do those type of things. So we have ran the drone, especially along up and down the rivers to see, that's where we have problems. So if we know that we have a problem location, like if it continues to have auto theft where you're at, we can definitely put somebody on that and we can fly around and see if we can see anything. It's just not that we can do that consistently every night, again, just due to personnel, but that's a good idea. And getting the information out and having people put their lights up. We've done that in some of our communities where we've given out light bulbs to try and remind people, turn on your lights, those type of things. Those are good campaigns. I love the idea of having lights that turn on when people are out there. That's always good. And we do still give out the clubs. Those are limited on what vehicles get them because it's not just a free-for-all that everybody gets them. It's the top 10 most stolen cars. And again, that's through CATPA. We will definitely get those out for people that want them. And what we do besides that, if somebody has a car that's not on the top 10 list, but they've had their car stolen, we like to give them a club also because the chance of that getting stolen again, especially if they can't get it fixed and get their ignition fixed properly, it's a chance that it gets stolen again. My best friend, he had his car stolen 3 times. This was in Denver, but over a couple of years, he had it stolen 3 times because it was an older Honda, easy to steal. He couldn't pay to have it the ignition replaced and all the things with that. So we did get him a club and it stopped it, but he was a victim 3 times the same vehicle. So it's not centric to Sheridan. It's not Sheridan centric. So but we're always willing to work with the community to try and get that, and working with your neighbors to tell them, be on the lookout, call us when there's somebody walking around that we have to be careful with that, right? We can't just target certain people, but if we see people looking in windows or, there's something that is out of the ordinary, we can always do our best to, even if it's just a consensual contact where we've contacted people and see, hey, what's going on? Can we help you? And things like that. Just let them know we're out there. So apologize. The neighbor's car got stolen. We'll do our best to put some extra patrols in that area and help everybody feel a little bit safer.
Thank you.
And Jay, as far as additional personnel or anything like that, that's a discussion we can have as part of our budget process. And we can bring some data to bear on that and some discussions about service levels and things like that.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
And just one last thing, Councilman, and for everybody, it's rare that we only have 2 officers and a sergeant on the street. So the officer told you that. That is what the shifts are, but we have overlap. And in the day, of course, there's the auxiliary officers such as myself and the commanders. We usually have a lieutenant that's out that can also assist. And then during our busiest times, which are the swing shift into the graveyard shift, we have overlap. So there's double the officers. And then on Wednesdays, when we have an overlap day, there's usually a lot more officers. So it's not as grim as it may have sounded where there's only 2 officers all the time. The truth of the matter is, though, if we get an arrest and it's a violent person, we don't just send 1 officer out. We have to have 2 people. So you're right. There could be the time where, we're a little bit at a disadvantage, but I don't want you to think that it's always that there's just 2 officers out there. That's a little bit too bleak of a situation to completely buy into. And I'm not trying to put the officer down, but sometimes they don't think about what they're saying. What they mean is on their shift is 2 officers and a sergeant. So
I think that's what he meant.
Yeah.
And I don't mean any disrespect. I am
No.
so appreciative of the times that police have come on my calls, that I see them driving around the neighborhood, that the way that they've dealt with parking infractions and stuff. They're so kind to the neighborhood. I very much appreciate the police presence. I just want more of it.
And I appreciate your support. You've always been very supportive of us. So I didn't mean that to come off like we're adversarial at all. You have been very supportive, and just again, that hard decision of how much money do we keep spending on police? And even if we added 1 more officer per shift on both sides, could I still guarantee we'd have officers at everybody's, patrolling all the areas? It's just difficult. So, but I appreciate the conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from council have something to bring up tonight? Okay. Then we will move on to public comment time. If there's anyone who'd like to speak to council, you're welcome to do that. We have 2 minutes per speaker and we won't exceed 20 minutes total. Come on up. State your name and address for the record, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Hello, council. I'm Shavit Gallegos. I'm at 3788 South Knox Court in Sheridan, 80236. Thank you so much for meeting here again all the time. You guys are so good at what you do, and I really appreciate being able to listen online. So thank you, Jenna, for making sure that's happening. And also for the interpretation services that you guys continually provide. I really appreciate that. So thank you for continuing to do all the hard work that you're doing. I just wanted to make sure that you all were aware that for South Suburban Parks and Rec District, they have 13 people on the ballot for 3 seats. And I don't recognize any of them as being from Sheridan. So I know that this upcoming election is going to be a huge one for our city, and could, potentially have really positive outcomes or negative outcomes when it comes to the contract between South Suburban and the rec center. And I know that the city isn't directly involved in that, but I know that you guys have a big stake in the game. And so I wanted to make sure that you all were aware of the upcoming candidate forum that they're going to have in Littleton. And they are saying that you need to register to attend it. So I just want to make sure that you'll have the code to be able to do that, so that you can come and hear what the candidates have to say and see if any of them are promoting Sheridan's well-being. So another thing that I just want to make a quick note of was that I got to attend the Citizens Academy. And so huge shout out to Chief Martinez and your team. Thank you so much for bringing that to us.
Thank you, Chevy. Appreciate it. I did already sign up to go to that forum, so I don't know if you brought something that we can use if we want to. Okay, thank you. Okay. Do we have anybody else who'd like to speak to council tonight? Seeing none?
Oh, hold on, Mayor.
Oh, wait. Oh, please come up. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, council. My name is Crimson Venser, and my address is 3788 South Knox Court, Sheridan, Colorado, 80236. I'm here tonight to show my deepest gratitude and appreciation for the city's police department and Police Chief Martinez. I had the privilege of attending the Citizens Academy that was held over 3 days. Unfortunately, I missed one day, but with the day that I missed, I found this class very informative. I learned about the police officers' uniforms, officer trainings, and also about graffiti and what to keep an eye out for. My favorite part was interacting with different officers and that they were willing to answer all of my many questions. I loved that Chief Martinez did not shy away from any of the tough questions that were asked about how police is going to protect the community. And I would also like to mention that I really like that the Sheridan Police Department is going. So on our way over here tonight, we passed by Sheridan Square Park behind our house, and there was a police car, and a whole bunch of children were talking with the police officer inside that car. And I love that these kids who are growing up in a world where people don't necessarily respect or like the police, they are able to have a good role models and not be scared in their communities. I would also really like to specifically thank Chief Martinez, Commander Conley, Commander, sorry for if I butcher these names, Commander Legger, Sergeant Marquez, Sergeant Boren, and Officer Medellin, for taking time to build relationships with community through the Citizens Academy. And I am hopeful that the City Council will continue to support and promote this training in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for providing that feedback. That's really helpful. And thanks, Chief. Coach. Chief.
Yeah, right. It's my honor. Crimson, that is so impressive. You are so brilliant, and I was so happy to see you at the Citizens Academy. And it's just amazing to see you be there and then to come speak like that so eloquently. It's impressive, and you are going to be so good at whatever you choose to do. And I'm here if I can help in any way. But thank you so much. I'll pay you later for getting you to get out there. So. Thanks, Crimson.
Thank you both for being here and providing your comments. We really appreciate it. Okay, anyone else who'd like to speak to council? Seeing none, we'll adjourn. The time is 8:03 p.m. Thank you all for being here.